Hi, everybody. My name is Michael McDowell, and I'm the author of Rigor, Redefined. I'm really excited that you're joining me today on a book study around this particular book. This is a book that has taken me years to write, and it really is the collection of a number of other titles that I've written over the last decade and tried to put them all together in one book that I thought would be tangible, that would provide tangible practices for teachers and would also synthesize it into 10 key habits. So the book is divided really into, I would say, four key parts. So the first part of the book, and this is chapter one, is really associated with what is rigor and why the idea of rigor needs to be redefined. And the second section for us is really on what is habit science and how do we make habits, how do we make practices in classrooms habitual, small and doable and make sense? So how do we really align practices to habit science? We then get into the third part, which is really around dispositional habits. How do we help students cultivate the habits to become better learners over time? And then we really move into the bulk of the book, which is how do we help students develop surface level learning, which is how the idea of building knowledge. So how do we help students develop factual knowledge around something, to develop procedural fluency in mathematics? And that's really associated with a couple of habits around building knowledge together and checking and responding to understanding. We then move into deep learning. And in deep learning, it's really associated with this idea of developing conceptual understanding and then applying that conceptual understanding across reading, writing, and talking tasks. And then we move into transfer level learning, which is the ability to be able to apply that learning over time. In the next couple of videos around the book study, we will be looking at each part of this work. So we will have one part on the rigor redefined, where we'll really be focusing in on what is rigor, why does the definition of rigor need to change, and what does that mean for us when we're engaging with students and parents and our colleagues that might not be necessarily reading or interested in looking at this. Then we'll go into how do we make habits doable? How do we take that work and then actually apply? We'll then move into those dispositional practices, building students' ability to become better learners. And then we're going to be looking at those phases of surface and deep and in transfer in terms of their learning. Around as we go through this, there's a number of other videos within this course that will give you tangible practices of how to actually implement. So this is really a book study on the book itself. What are the aspects of this book? But if you want to learn more around what are those specific practices I take in these areas, the parts of the program that talk about the application, those would be the videos that you want to watch and go through that part of the course. So I hope that's helpful. And I look forward to at least initiating the type of conversation that you and your colleagues will have around each of those chapters. So if you're ready, let's go ahead and jump into the introduction and into chapter one. So we're going to do the next one for us is talking through the introduction and through chapter one. Thanks, everybody.